Hi guys, welcome to another wonderful episode of Dear Niger Girl podcast. Today, I brought you guys a guest. There's been so much going on, and so today I found a guru in real estate himself, and he's going to talk to us about women in the real estate space. Now, let's allow him introduce himself.
Hi ladies, so my name is Jimmy Peter, and I'm a real estate portfolio manager majorly, and I major in real estate investments and not real estate buying. So, because there are two different things, we have landlords and we have real estate investors.
Well, welcome Jimmy. Absolutely amazing to have you on the show today.
Amen.
One of the first things that I want to talk about is most of the myth about women in real estate. What exactly does it take to come into real estate as a woman?
Okay, yeah. I think the first thing to put into consideration is real estate is a business. So as far as businesses they are not gender based. So you should definitely know that you are welcome. That's the first thing. I think the mindset matters and the numbers too. Okay. So as a woman, I feel naturally women are even smarter, if I'm allowed to use that language. So it's easier for them to manage, calculate, like, am I making the right decision buying this space? I'm not emotionally driven. I am actually driven by facts. You understand? Like, I've done my research and all. I think this place is a good buy, or this property is a good buy. I'm not buying because it's beautiful. I'm buying because it's actually worth its value. The women should actually look at it as a business, not as an emotional thing. It's also applicable to men, but in this point is that women should take it as they take their business, which I feel in the long run, they will do better because they handle their business with more tenacity.
I have a question. There's a lot of stereotypes that follow women in real estate. For example, we hear things like women that sell houses a lot have to sell their body.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. Women that manage homes, like shortlets, like accommodation, like residences, have to whatever. There's just a lot of stereotypes, but most of the major one is this whole thing about women exchanging their body for a high real estate portfolio. That's to get the good houses, to be able to get people to buy those good houses as well. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think most times we generally have to understand that there's what we call a societal norm, and it's always good for one to be aware of it. And if you are aware, then you should always try to know the image you want to portray. So most times you have ladies that actually market properties, and it's quite obvious that they are intentionally selling their body to sell the property. So even if you're not intentionally doing it, while editing your video, checking your videos, you should take close look at it, like psychologically, that will a buyer see me as being flirty, advertising this, or I'm doing this because we see videos sometimes. You have a very big, a very nice shape, and all you're doing in the video is just turning around and you just want to talk about chandelier and you're turning around, So they have to just avoid situations that will make them explain. I think that's the right English.
I think that's the right English.
Yeah, so that's the first. But because regardless, even if you don't do that, we have men that are actually flirty.
I was about to say that there are lots of men that I see them showing off their apartments, and they are not the one. First of all, I feel like men also sell their body, but in a different angle. They hire girls with curvy figures to come show off the house. But why is the onus on the women?
Yeah, it's not supposed to be like that, because I feel it's like I started with, I said the societal norm. Even if a lady is doing well in the real estate industry, like I'm free to mention names, like someone like Bridget of Lekki Ajaikwe. Now she's married actually, and she sells a lot. You have people raising talks like, could she be doing this? Could she be loyal doing this? And also, we know that the societal norm is expected for people to say that. So it's always important to know that you know yourself. and you don't have to, as long as you are succeeding, even regardless of the industry, if it's not real estate, as long as a woman is succeeding, you start hearing talks like, a politician is funding her, she's selling her body and all that. So, and most of them are not factual. They are just assumptions. So it's always good for the ladies to just expect it. So once it comes, they shouldn't feel
it shouldn't be a surprise.
But they have roles to play in how they now portray themselves, or how they project themselves rather.
So basically the very few that is guilty that they do those things, are creating a bad image for the general, for those that are not doing it.
For those that are not doing it.
Let's come down to this particular conversation. I've always been very curious about family aspect of real estate, right? So for example, we have this stereotype where for example, I'm still saving money. I don't have land. I don't have house. But I remember a time I was having a conversation with my auntie, and I was like, I really, really want to own a house someday, and I really can't wait. I think I just came out of school and I was doing youth service, and I was one of the highest paid coppers, so my shoulder pad was high. I felt like I was a millionaire and whatnot. I didn't even hope to a million, but I was very eager to buy a house someday, and I was telling her that, I can't wait for a couple of years. I'll buy a house, build it, move in, have my friends around. And then my auntie asked the question, and then she was like, where's your husband in all this? And I'm like, why does my husband have to be should I say, a deciding factor of the things that I want to do with my life? Especially because the husband is not even here at this point. And she said something, she said, no, don't buy a house now. Wait, when you're married, you buy the house. So if you buy a house, no man will marry you. In fact, if you're living alone, no man will marry you. This one is a prevalent, stereotype. It's a regular thing, especially if you're an Igbo girl. They will tell you, want to go and live alone. No man will not marry. You can't live with your uncle in here. You can't live with your auntie in here. You're not allowed to live alone. So, what are the scenarios, or have you encountered a situation where a lady bought a house before she got married and it became an issue, or a man bought a house before he got married and then when he got married it became an issue for ownership or something like that?
Okay. It's I think you have I don't know if you've studied it so much that you were able to identify that problem, because it's a very big problem in marriages right now. And because we don't know who is going first. I don't know, you understand? So it's always good to put in place what's, like, you start with what's right, which is the first thing is when you're coming together. I'm not a marriage counselor actually, but I'm saying when you're coming together, you talk things out. How do you want things to be done? I just feel like ladies also need to talk to their partner about their finances. They should also talk about their investments too, because it's a partnership thing. You understand? So if you've actually gotten, or you've gotten one before getting into marriage, either as a male or a female, it's always good to talk about it. Talking about it sometimes doesn't necessarily mean you have to co-own it. Yeah, because sometimes women, it's natural. Like if a woman has actually gotten one before and she gets married, and after marriage the guy has not gotten any. We have situations like that, and they are planning to have one. The lady doesn't want to. He knows about it, but she doesn't want to own it with the person yet. Till let's get ours first, then we now do that. It's always wise. The reason is just because of you have external factors, the extended family and all that. So, and for our own security, she needs to, you understand. But if this, in the case of the man having property, you have issues like she has gotten this property before. No, he has gotten this property before he gets married to you. So the mother is the brother is the next of kin or something like that. It's not supposed to be like that, because you have children that the investment is actually for your family.
For your family.
Yeah, for your family, you understand? So
basically both of them should disclose
what they own. That's the main thing.
But do you understand the reason why a lot of women do not like disclosing previous owned properties to their man? Because right from, like, for the very longest of time, marriage do not favor women. A lot of times. And because of that. For example, you said something about, if you as a woman, you're getting married, you tell your husband the things that you used to own, the things that you own now, just basically disclose so that he knows what what you're coming into the marriage with, just to protect yourself, especially if one person dies before the other person. But there's usually a place of entitlement with a lot of men. Let me give you an instance. If, for example, I'm getting married to someone who had like 5 lands and like 4 houses, I do not feel entitled to that. Most women will feel entitled to the man's money, but they do not feel entitled to the man's property in the sense of, put my name in that your documents now, add me there as a co-owner, or let's change the rights of ownership to both of us instead of one person. But in the case of the men, it's different. Most men feel emasculated with the fact that this woman has this number of things before I met her, or why is she owning this thing in this marriage? I am her Lord and personal savior. My name should be on the document, and blah, 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 blah. A lot of women also hide these things because they feel they hide it from a sense of security. In the sense that if this man dies and he has like mad people as kinsmen and they come and drag everything, at least I still have this thing of mine. Because in most cases, even when the woman's name is on the documents, they still take it as long as that man's name is beside it.
Peculiarities to it. Because most times you have to also consider that you don't have to I don't advise you just disclose. You can talk about it, but there's a level to it. Like, okay, I own this land and all. You might have more than that. I don't know. You understand? But I own this land, I own this property, and I don't have to start documenting it yet. It shouldn't be a thing of a rush, even for the man and the woman.
Maybe they can document with their lawyer.
They can document with their lawyer, but they don't have to watch it immediately. They have to discuss it very well in a way that they have to consider the extended family, like we are always saying. So you have to consider that what are their views. You need to know their views first. You don't have to necessarily ask them, but there are ways you can tell the way they believe things, the way they see things. You understand? So how do we save ourselves? So you now have to discuss how you go about it, the documentation.
Okay.
So, but it's just opinion, actually. So,
why is it so hard for women to get accommodations in this country, especially in Lagos? I feel like the one for Lagos drives me insane because there is so many empty houses and yet women can't. I don't understand.
It's true because I most times if you check very well, you discover most property with such conditions are properties that are owned by a landlord, and the landlord is managing the property himself. Because if you have a property management company, there are procedures actually. One of the procedures is to vet the person's source of income and the person's cash flow. Like you can check if the person has the capacity to continue paying this thing, regardless of the gender. You understand? So I think most of the insecurity comes from believing that she's a lady. So maybe it's, the rent is coming from a man, and maybe later the man would leave her or something, and she won't be able to pay and all. So I feel it's still a crude way of thinking and handling situations like that. The best thing is to have a system that eliminates being bias and all that. So you just have to create a system that vets the person's capacity to continue paying. So if you ask, it's not even good to ask someone, can you pay? Okay, you're a woman, or this. Just let the person pen it down. Okay, I work in social place. This is what I do. This is my annual rent, annual income and all that. This is the source. And you check it and you discover, by the time you do your averaging and all, you discover that, okay, this person is good to go. You don't have to be thinking that I know it's practically difficult for some people, like I said in the beginning, because they are landlords, they are not, and that's the beginning of this, there's a difference between a landlord and an investor, and a real estate investor. So real estate investor knows that there are positions where you need to put an expert in. So you don't just believe you can do your thing is a business. So if you believe it's a business, you don't want to throw out somebody who is a lady who is coming to rent your apartment, who has the potential of buying something bigger from you, or giving or contributing something bigger to your business or something. You understand?
Yeah.
Because it's a very big problem actually. And
it's a very big problem. And I heard you mention that it's usually with accommodations that is managed by the landlord. Or if it's managed by property management, yes, it takes out that bias. Yeah. But my friend and I had encountered property managers, because I feel like at the end of the day, the approval has to come from the landlord for those property managers to give you the accommodation. Because my friend wanted to rent a house one time, and we found a perfect accommodation for her. It was managed by a property management team. Okay. We reached out to them. They came. They showed us the accommodation. We said, we'll take it. How much is the rent? They told us what the total package is. Okay. My friend was willing to pay. And so she said, okay, she's going to go home, make arrangements for the money, call the property guy the next day, and then follow up with the payment process. They gave her a form to fill. She did all that. The next day, time to pay, he said, okay, that he's going to send the contact of the lawyer for her to get the payment details from the lawyer and then make payments. Time for her to make payments, the lawyer calls her back and says, sorry, are you married?
Oh.
My friend says, no, she's not married, she's single. And then they said, sorry, we can't rent to single women. That's a different bias on its own. So we have the bias of not renting to women. We have the bias of not renting to single women. And then we have the bias of the divorced women. Okay. The problem I have with this country is that aside from the bias of industry and society, you also have the status bias of like different stages of your life. Whichever one you're in, there's a bias for you. And it drives me insane. How do you think we can manage, or we can eradicate stereotype, or should I say bias, from the real estate business? Because aside from the bias of men expecting sexual favors in return for buying houses from women, and then the bias of women not being able to rent accommodations because of their gender, the bias of not being able to get an accommodation because you're a single woman or a divorced woman or a single mother. There's just too many biases in real estate. And the honest truth is that a lot more women are now in the workforce, making money, going to work, accumulating wealth. We should be able to get an accommodation without having to rely on our rental form. We should be able to get accommodation without a man.
Sure.
So how do you think we can take out this bias from real estate?
Yeah, the first thing first is one should know that it's a societal thing. So it's not limited to the ladies actually. I'm not saying not limited to the ladies as being affected. I mean not limited to the ladies as the cost, not the cost of it. You understand? So it's like we're talking about people generally, even fellow ladies who also, some ladies have that bias. We have fellow landlords, landladies actually, that will not give to a single lady or give to, you understand? So it's not like a societal thing. And I think for us to eradicate, we have to look at the causes, like what's the mindset, what's the mentality behind it, why are they so scared, why do they feel insecure about it? So I feel and you don't have to start addressing it individually. I think the best thing to do is to increase the awareness of the real estate sector. Like people need to understand, first of all, that it's an investment. I'll still go back to that. So, and because the problem is coming from the angle of the owners of the property, not these people. So the owners need to know that it's an investment. And if you take something as an investment, you take away bias, you take away sentiments. You talk about facts, you talk about figures, you consider a lot of things. So if you are considering those things, you would, even as much as they want to mitigate risk by not giving the apartment to ladies based on what they think, I think they should also look at it practically, that whatever reason I'm giving, is it not something that can also happen to a man? You understand? So you hear issues like, you don't know if the man is getting funds from a brother or from a uncle. You understand? And all that. So I feel it's
from a sugar mommy.
From a sugar mommy. Yeah. Alright. So, and yeah, I've seen cases of people, not only females, even some men don't get property. I know it's more for the female. They don't get to rent property easily because maybe they can't trace the source of their livelihood well. You understand? And some people, the source of their livelihood is not so straightforward that you can't easily get and all that. So if you have those problems and it's from men, so that doesn't really mean that women have the problem and you just say, okay, she's a single man, forget it.
So you sound really reasonable. Do you have an apartment so that me too I can come and rent?
Definitely, yeah. Oh, yeah. We have an apartment, not just one actually. It's a brand on its own, and the name is Beachwalk Apartments. So we have Beachwalk Apartments 1 and 2. And the idea is we create apartments that are closer to the beach or to the ocean, with ocean view. If not ocean view, we have close proximity to the beach. And the reason is because real estate is they have the sector called the commercial real estate, which one of it is the recreational and then tourism and whatever. So, but this is categorized as a commercial real estate, and we looked at it as, okay, what value will it have beyond just the interiors and all? We should look at the accessibility to other activities, and we discovered it's easier to have closer proximity to the ocean. And when people want to go on vacation, most of the time, the first thing that comes to their head, I just want to go to the beach, have a free time and all that.
Even when I'm not on vacation, I want to go to the beach.
So definitely so, and we know I think the key to getting a business successful is you get the key to the mind of the women. So we know women like they love going to the beach a lot, and that doesn't mean they have mommy water or mommy. But I'm just saying that they like to go to the beach. So, and most times, just imagine your partner and you're scrolling through the apartment to get for yourself, and you see one with the name Beach Walk. You feel like, wow, let's find out, is it actually closer to the beach? Because I want to go to the beach. So you influence him and he wants to do what you want. So that's one of the
basically women are influencers.
Yes, that's the truth.
Okay.
They are not controllers, they are influencers.
Yeah. I like that. Women are not controllers, we're influencers.
Yeah, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we are trying to create
something that is like a home.
Yeah, like you go with your loved ones and all that. So if you look at if maybe one day when you get to our apartment, you discover that the design is more of this homely feel. We were concerned about we were not putting into consideration that it should look trendy, but we are putting into consideration that it's something that looks homely, because most times being homely doesn't have to be shouty or shouting. Our lighting were not so loud and all that. So we basically did a lot of things, and I feel it's actually a home away from home, and I just feel we need to try it one day.
Me, anything beach, me. Anything beach plus a home, me. Anything beach plus a house, definitely me. So outside of this shortlist, what else do you do?
Yeah, I do consultancy, majorly real estate consultancy. I help people take informed decisions, not real estate marketers. We don't market. We only actually, maybe you found something or you found options and you want to weigh them. You want to make sure you are getting properties that are going above, that they are beating inflation, first of all. Second, the naira dollar valuation, you are able to beat it. You understand? Like being practical, and you are not buying an overpriced property or an hyped property, because people need to understand that real estate crashes. It's crashed in the UK and in some, I think, a few years back and all that. So there's tendency that it's going to happen in Nigeria. We've foreseen it. That's really.
I think it's going there. I think it's going there because the prices of apartments and it's outrageous.
Things are just getting outrageous. The amenities and the environment are not commensurating with the value. Like you're talking about values of property that people in the country can afford, or people in that area can afford to own. It's definitely looking like it's not giving the value.
It's not giving at all.
So we want to make sure that you are buying what is actually, because we have seen people that bought property, let's say for example, property of 15 million in a location where you can still actually get that same location for 5 million naira. Just because a brand sold it to you, you are buying it 15 million, over 10 million naira excess, and you are being they were projecting prices to you, and you just took it because you love the brand and you see it's a brand. The point is, land is not like that. It's not about branding.
This brings me to say, I am going to be insane if I don't ask you this, because I think it has gotten out of hand. We have most of these brands that sign celebrities.
Sure.
Like, for example, for the past couple of months, I think has been trending. They sign a lot of celebrities. They sign a lot of people. And then people have a lot of complaints that after buying, lands from these people, allocation is a problem. It takes them. There's someone that said he bought his 5 years ago. They've not allocated to him. Now, my problem with this is that Revolution Plus is not even the only one. There are lots of brands like this. They make a big name for themselves. They sign influencers. They come and do Twitter campaign. They do online advertisements. I mean, I really don't think I can trust a brand that tells me to buy a plot of land and they will give me one goat. I don't understand. Or I buy a apple, give me chicken or a bag of rice.
Yeah, the thing is, it's high time people learn to not buy things based on hype or influence. It's just like somebody who wants to do a particular, it's just a good example. Okay, I have an uncle, I have people around me, they've never used a car before, and I want to buy a car, and I'm asking them for advice. So if the influencer is popular and he has influence, doesn't mean that it's going to direct you or give you the right decision to make as per the real estate industry, because that's not what it does. So, and most times it's a contract between them that doesn't prove the authenticity. So you need to know that the authenticity has never changed. Is by you verifying the title with your lawyer, property lawyer, not any other. I mean, your property lawyer. And it's also important that you know the process. It's not good to invest in something you don't know. I think it's something everybody should know that now. So if you're going to go into real estate industry, you should know that you must know at least basic things. How do I verify? How do I do this? So you're only paying professionals to do them for you, but you know the process yourself. It's always very important.
It's so sad because now what happens is that these influencers have now washed their hands off the brand to say, oh, I've cut ties with this brand. Okay, so what happened to those that bought from this brand because of you? You cutting ties with them does not invalidate the fact that you've actually hurt your audience.
Yeah, I feel in their contracts, people don't get to understand that. Like in advanced countries, sometimes you have there's confidentiality, but there's this part that people begin to request for. If I'm going to do this because of you, I need to know the terms of the contract with the person. So now most of the terms that they have is like they have duration. So even if before the thing crashes, they're already out. Secondly, is solely for marketing purpose. Not that they are involved in the company. So by the time you want to charge them, nobody can take one of those influencers now to court and say, I bought this because of you. It will say, I didn't say buy it because of me. I only marketed the place.
Exactly.
And they did not pay me commission and all that. So people need to know that the law is not biased, it's not sentimental. So, and this is your money. It's not it's not a free gift, it's your money, so you shouldn't be sentimental about it. Because I love whiskey so much, or because I love Ordinary so much, he said this, so I must do it, or because whiskey is the brand ambassador of any bank, of UBA rather, I must bank with UBA when I know that my business, the way it is tailored and designed is this bank, and this bank will give me credit. You understand? So people need to start being like that.
You need to become more
objective and be practical with their things.
Okay, so my last question before we round up is, what is your craziest experience in real estate? Like, give me the gist. I mean, I like gist.
Well, there are lots. I would say there are some that are traumatizing. Some are just basic experience. Like, you get your fingers burnt most times. And if you don't, it's always good to know what you are doing. I'll still go back to that. Like, you have to study it very well. And I feel Nigerians, we have this nature of, we like theory most times, and we just overlook the practical. So we have people that, for instance, I'll give you a good example now. You have people that just graduate from school, and they went for a seminar and they tell them you can market real estate, you can be a realtor and all that. You now hear the such person just come to the TV without learning anything about real estate and just say, buy this land in Ekwe and this and this and this. I am I'm a real estate expert. And this and that and all. So that has made it difficult for most times when we talk to clients. Sometimes they say, "Oh, now so all you realtors they do." Then I'm beginning to I will now start to differentiate that I'm not a realtor. You understand? Like, I'm not marketing to you. If I see what I can market, I market, but I don't major in marketing. Do you understand? I major in the investing, like the investment, because they are marketing. We know this business. We do it. You understand? It's a business. So we talk about, okay, it's also years. What do you get? How do you get it? What's the next thing you're going to do? That's why we call it portfolio management. So in the next 15 years or 20 years, I'm building a journey with you and you are seeing the growth practically. So, the experience has affected me in a way that you might have someone who has the money to invest. You make your own gain from it and all. You have your percentage and all. And the person is always scared that, I've done this in the past and I got my fingers burnt. I've done that in the past. So the person is now becoming difficult to
trust issues.
So that's the first trauma. Most times you've talked for long, you've done the numbers and all. You just discover that you just back out and say, it's just because of fear. You understand? So, but I would say God has helped us to find a solution to that. And that was why we started, emphasizing on people understand the business. So when I'm talking to someone who understands it, it's easier because you know that if you understand something, your risk becomes minimal, or the fear you have becomes minimal. You understand? Just like if I want to drive a car now, or I want to start Uber, for instance, if I don't know how to drive before and it's my first time, I begin to fear accidents and all that. It's normal. So by the time I learn it, so most times I don't tell people, don't learn with your money sometimes. You can learn practically from people like us. Tell you, we are doing a 15 million investment. This is it. And let's practically see how watch how we do it. These are the processes we took. You understand? The documentation. These are we did it. So you see that, this is safe, this is nice, fine. And even started as far as we invest in our money, we want to set a particular area. We say, we are going to buy with our money first. And there's no issues. We do everything properly. And you see that you don't have issues at all. So you build your trust, right? So that trauma has gone, but it was really traumatizing for years actually. And the second thing that I faced is issue of a woman, like I think you asked a question like that, a woman who has been married for years. I don't know how many years precisely, but I know it's over 10 years. So, and the man has extended family, like a brother and all that. And when the husband died, they have like 3 properties, and it now became a war between the family and this woman. And she has like 4 children. And you begin to hear cases like, are you now, the point they were now mentioning is, are you legally married? First question, and you now start asking yourself, have people actually lost their their sense of
humanity.
their humanity, or I don't know. So that aspect alone made it difficult for us to, because we have a client who was interested in that one of the property. The lady wants to sell, this other person wants to sell. So the lady actually, we had to come in because the situation was quite complicated. That my client wants to buy it and we want to sell. And one thing is, we can't leave it, we can't lose the deal because you encounter some difficulties, but it's possible to sell without issues, even at that situation. But so we had to come. We did. We made sure they have an agreement. And what we did was that, okay, we don't just want something oral. So we said the family of the guy, that's the man that died,
yes,
the deceased, and the wife, both were present in the transaction. Then the children of the man were used as witnesses to the transaction. So it made it easy that you don't have a situation where the child comes later and say, our father used to have this property, we were not aware that it was sold and all that. So, but just to avoid such situations where somebody else that is not party to your family gets involved in your family issues. It's just that people don't see property as a business. It's just like having a business and somebody is coming to interfere in your business. You understand? So, but if they know it's a business, they should understand that documents and every other things are very, very relevant in the process. So it was traumatizing for me as putting myself in that position and understanding how women feel, especially how difficult it is for her to take care of the children. The educational background of the children was actually nice. So now she was not thinking of reducing everything, making sure they go to one school and all that. So and now this is the opportunity for them to sell something, and she should set up something or set up herself in a way that she can take care of them. And somebody's coming somewhere saying that my brother is the owner of this and that, you don't have the right to sell. So we have to tell the man, you too don't have the right to sell. The problem is because the man has children, and nobody will buy from you legally without these children knowing. And this what law states that because you are the brother, you have the right to sell. Because there are documentations you still have to go and do, even if you are the next of kin of your brother. Yeah. So you still have to do those documentations. So we said those things. So that's justice. So it was traumatizing. It was very, 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 very.
Well, thank you so much for sitting with us today. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. We are definitely going to have to see those apartments. It's been so great having you with us. Thank you so much. You guys, do not forget to subscribe, and also when you listen to this podcast on all streaming platforms, make sure you download, and don't forget to rate us. Please rate us. Thank you so much. All the details are in the description below. Have a great one.